Good afternoon. How's everyone today? Let's just rearrange everything. Right. Can you hear me? Do I sound all right? Right. So I think we've got a few in. Right. Okay. Good. Good. I think you can hear me. Okay. I've got a confirmation there. I'm going to turn the shotgun mic off. I don't think that's going to add anything to it. Hopefully, you can still hear me fine. Right, we're going to unbox some games today. A couple of these aren't in their wrapper because I started unboxing them, then put them back because I thought I'd save them actually, but I couldn't resist. So we're going to have a look at this lot. Now, I'm not quite sure where to start, but we've got. I'll just run through what we're going to be having a look at today. So we've got Europe Divided, which is a new. I've got my notes here. I ought to have them up, otherwise I'll forget things. So this is a David Marling and Chris Marling and David Thompson game. David Thompson of the Undaunted franchise. So this is a two-player big box political like political conflict game, I guess. I say political conflict. I think there's probably real conflict in it as well. But it's mainly about grabbing power and things like that. So there's that to look at. Nice box, nice art. We'll come to that in a sec. We've got Endangered, which is by Joe Hopkins. This is all about endangering animals. No, it's not. It's about saving endangered animals. And you sort of they've already got like a ton of expansions for it, so you can save all of the charismatic megafauna that you might wish. So that's interesting to look at. We have got Ticket to Ride, Amsterdam. There we go. This is a small box Ticket to Ride. It's great. I spoke to Nick Smith of Ludicrous about this earlier today. We were talking about the merits of smaller box versions of kind of those bigger gateway games that we like. And this is a great example of that. So we'll get into that a bit later. This is one I've actually played, so this is not a sort of a fresh unboxing, but still. Okay. Then we've got new from Osprey, Village Green by Pierre Sylvester. This is a ruthless game of the Village Green of the Year competition. So you are now given the keys to the Village Green, as it were, and you are able to build it up and hopefully beat the people from the next village over, which is obviously the most important thing. Looking forward to that one a lot. And then we've got this one, this monster. This is one of those ones that the delivery man left at my doorstep. I said cheers and tried to pick it up with one hand, but it sort of immediately slipped out. Because it's quite a hefty thing. This is high rise. This has got giant skyscrapers in, and it's about building giant skyscrapers, which is cool. This is from Formal Ferret, which is a good name for a company. Right. Okay. So where should we start? let's start with Europe divided. Here we are. Oh. Here we are. I'm not sure who that is on the front, other than Europe. This is what Europe looks like. They are divided down the middle. This is like a version of history where, if you remember the 2006-7 conflict in Georgia, it's something that kind of happens after that. So it's kind of a EU and NATO versus Russia situation, and the way it's sort of pitched is that either side has their own advantages and drawbacks, but it's the Russians can move quickly because they're unbureaucratic allegedly, and the Europeans are very wealthy and able to do lots of stuff, but they're very slow moving. So it's a sort of I guess it's going to be an asymmetrical like game of influence. In fact, that's what it says on the box. A competitive game of post-Cold War influence over Europe. So I guess we'll have a look inside. It's by Phalanx. Shall we look inside, or shall we look at the back first? Let's look at the back first. That was a bit of a tease. A game of an expansionist Europe, a resurgent Russia, and a new Cold War. So it's offering us asymmetric skill-based gameplay, unique and up-to-date geopolitical theme, which is good actually. Think about the number of games that we play that are still rehashing things from the 60s, 70s, where it's like the people who actually experience those things are like a lot. Even they are a long way away from it. So it's nice to have a up-to-date geopolitical theme, as I say. Okay. Here we go. So, who rules Eastern Europe commands the Heartland. Who rules the Heartland commands the World Island. Who rules the World Island controls the world. Sir Halford Mackinder, 1919, which is some sort of important date, I imagine. Okay. Right, so David Thompson and Chris Marling. David Thompson and Chris Marling work together quite a lot. Marling is Thompson's main, his secondary collaborator. Of course, usually. So the game we most recently covered, and you heard me speaking to both David and Trevor about this, which is the Osprey published North Africa. This is a must-play game, an absolute belter, as it were. So this is the other partnership that David has. You can listen to me talk to both of those guys in, I think, episode 8 of the podcast. So you can go to Tabletop Gaming .co.uk and find our podcast on there, or find it on any sort of fruit-based device. Right, so we're gonna jump in here now. Okay. Now, I will say the reason I have opened this one already, and the reason I put it back is because it was the end of the evening, and we thought we'll just have a look. Maybe we can get a quick game in. We had like an hour, but our brains had been pretty fried already. And the first thing we were met with was this player aid, which has a 20-turn player aid sequence. I'm not sure how the headlines actually work just yet, but you can see that it's quite involved. I'm assuming that's not for solo play. No, so this is a 2-player only game. So this is a maybe a reminder to how to play the game, but it's quite involved and allows, I guess, I'm assuming it allows for a kind of narrative way to play this game. So we've got one of those each, one for each side. This will be the Russian one because it's red, I imagine, and I'm assuming this blue one is the European NATO one. Okay, nice rule book here. Let's have a little look at this. Oh yes, It's like quite nicely delineated exactly. Actually, so it doesn't look too rough. Your first game will obviously take you a little while, but here we are. Here's what we're going to be doing: mucking about on a map, taking over things, which is what we all want to do. Okay, let's pop that in the box. And here's the main event, the actual map of Europe. I'm a fan of stylized maps. Is that the right way up? For me, it is. I'm a fan of like slightly stylized. No, this isn't like massively stylized. In fact, it might be. It's slightly warped on a globe, isn't it? But maybe that's. I'm not sure if that makes it more accurate or less accurate. Let's see. Got a nice energy sector up here. Places for you to put your cards. I assume there's some energy cards in here. Yeah, this looks quite good. I think these markers here, these red and blue markers, will probably be telling us where things go. You can see at the top here. Here's that 20-turn track with the current headlines. Shall we zoom in on that? Let's see if I can. Manage that. Oh, that's my hand. There we go. Probably should have set up a zoom mode first, shouldn't I? No, you're not going to be able to see that properly, are you at all? Never mind. This is why people don't do live editing of their streams, unless it's to put a funny picture up. There we go. Something like that. Apologise for leaving my blue screen out here. We'll use that later if we want to look at things up close without actually interrupting everything. So we've got a lovely set of tokens here, double-sided. Very nice. These are little boats. I don't know if we can see these boats here. I assume they're going to cause some sort of trouble for each other. This here looks like the... I've forgotten the name for it. The name for the... what's it called? Before TV started, there'd be a... on terrestrial television, there'd be a signal, and it would be a picture of like a clown and a little girl on a chair. Or something like that. I can't. Is it the something card? The test card. That's it, isn't it? So they've got a little sort of vaguely test cardy logo here, which I'm assuming is going to represent some kind of scrambling of the of networks and things like that. So that could be an interesting aspect there. But yeah, looks good. Looks like a nicely made thing. I probably should have prefaced this. These are unboxings. I'm not reviewing this game in any way. We're just kind of giving you a little overview, taking you through what we've got in the box. And in this case, it's lots of dice. Shall we have a look at some dice? Let's turn this one on. Lovely. Okay. I'm not sure I'm going to be able to see all of these because the green screen is a blue screen. So, there we go. So these are the lovely ghostly dice that we've got in the game. Here we go. It looks very much like they're themed on your particular team. Yellow might be neutral. I'm not sure. This is one of those ones where I read the rules and I'll work out that I've told you everything completely wrong. Oh, I'll find that in a minute. Yeah, I'll find that in a minute. Okay, we've got some nice cards here. These look like these might be headline cards, or are these the headline cards? Okay, let's have a look. Let's get into these. Maybe we'll get into these. There we go. Should we take a little look? I'm really hoping I'm not actually giving anything massively away here. Okay. So here's a few. These look like region cards. I guess as you collect areas, you'll take these. These are these are different events as well. So this is the Baku. I've really picked a weird one to try and pronounce there. Anyone can do that for me? Thanks. The just opened BTC pipeline is now the second longest wall pipeline in the former Soviet Union, running from the Caspian Sea to the Mediterranean. Its shareholders are mainly from NATO nations. So I think that's probably quite a good example of like how the conflict is actually going to work, because of how the wealth of Europe is often made on the backs of other nations' infrastructure in some ways, or resources. In this case, it's there might be things that that sort of represents how Europe might be propped up by Russian oil, for example, and how there's obviously a conflict there of Europeans owning something that's in a ex-Soviet area. But I'm not going to do too much politics because it's boring when I do it. So here at Ukraine, massive but bloodless protests and political turmoil ensure that the highly controversial runoff vote in the Ukrainian president ensue after the highly controversial runoff vote in the Ukrainian presidential election. 2004-2005. So I'm assuming. Sorry, hi the Heeb. Yes, some of these board games are named after songs by 60s bands, which is true. So while this is an up-to-date political context for a game, it's not an up-to-date name of it. I can't actually think who sung Europe Divided, or am I just thinking of Europe as a? Is that an 80s band? That's an 80s band, isn't it? So maybe I'm getting confused there. You don't think so, but Europe probably split up. Very good. Very good. Oh, yes. Well, yes, I didn't make a joke about this being a Brexit game, did I? And I won't. Right, so I've got some more cards here. Again, region cards. They look like the ways for you to power up the game, power up what you're doing in certain regions, possibly ways of enhancing your influence. Yes, they're themed on which side you're on. Yeah. So advantage cards, and then maybe these are normal cards. Yeah. It's all based on the Eurovision Song Contest. Yes, it is. Yes. That is completely correct. Right, so I'm just going to bag this up to make my life slightly easier when I open the box again. But that's Europe Divided. That's what we've got in the box. I'd love to tell you loads more about how it all works, but it's quite complicated and I haven't read the rulebook yet. We'll probably have a game of it at some point when I can get together with Numpa. When I can get myself around to bring it together. Hoping to review this in 47. There we go. So that's Europe Divided. This is Europe, and it has been divided. Right. So, shall we move on to Endangered? This is So this is a game by Grand Gamers Guild, as we can see here. And it is about just like animals dying, really, I guess. The sort of ecological apocalypse or whatever. You know, fun stuff. But great because it's solo gaming. So if you are the last remaining white rhinoceros or whatever, at least you can play it. So I'm not gonna open it. We're gonna look at the back again first. Okay, so 1 to 5, 10 plus, 60 minutes. Lovely. The march of progress threatens survival of many animals. Endangered is a cooperative game where you must work together as conservationists trying to save a species from extinction. While dealing with the complex immediate hazards threatening a species, you must also convince influential ambassadors to pass a resolution that will create a chance for long-term survival. It's a balancing act that will illustrate the complex challenges conservationists face in trying to protect our vulnerable friends. This is a modular game system. Each module tells a different species story, offers unique challenges, and helps players understand the dire difficulties facing the animals as the conservationists determined to help them. This box includes the tiger and sea otter modules. Subscribe to our newsletter by visiting, etc., etc. Okay, so that was just a bit too much reading there. I will say immediately that I do have the one everyone obviously cares about the most, which is I do have this panda-based one here. So this is the size of a normal box. That's the size of a module. I'm hoping this can go in here somehow. Maybe not in the box. I'm not sure, but hopefully there's space to if you're expanding this out into a modular game with all of the animals as they disappear from the planet. Hopefully it all goes in together nicely. Not massively important, but still. Okay, Endangered, a game of survival by Joe Hopkins. Rules of play. Here we go. Okay. So there's a bit of dice rolling. There's a bit of scenario setups here. Oh, that's good. I'm going to like this as well. Okay, we'll get to those right now. Okay, so it looks like the way this works is that you'll be taking some of these various people. This zoologist, this philanthropist, this TV wildlife host up here, who I thought for a second had like a Jon Snow kind of cape on, but is in fact a bit of scuba diving gear. I guess that's for the sea otters. Or indeed you can be okay, they've done the fun thing of like they're sort of gender swapped, so depending on which way up you have them, you can be what you like, whatever suits you best. But the interesting part of this is that you'll be sort of clipping things in, or not really clipping things in, you'll be putting things up against the edges here, you'll be rolling your dice and you'll be securing them here. Okay. So who else do we have in this box? We have the environmental lawyer, which is interesting. And we have the lobbyist. Do we like the lobbyist? Not a big fan. And then here's the other versions available for you. And loads of money. Look at all this money. Okay, let's have a look at the punch boards here. Now what are these? These appear to be sort of camouflage area tokens of some kind. And here we go. Here we're getting into the good stuff now. We have parrots. I think these are parrots. Or are these otters? Parrots or otters? Quick. We'll chuck some of these parrots. I guess they're otters. I guess we kind of know they're otters because we know that's what's in this box. When you have a brown parrot, I'm talking complete nonsense. However, let's have a. Should we have a look at these in the on the green screen? There we go. That's what these guys look like. They look kind of ghostly at the moment, so I might have to change my filter there. If you just give me half a second. There we go. Oh, did that not change it? Apparently that's all it can do. Okay, that's fine. So these are potentially otters laying on their back in the water, I guess. Is that what's happening there? Sheep. So you think they're sheep, do you? I don't think that's right. That's a contribution from Grumpy Turnip there. Yeah, so I guess these are otters. I'm going to go with otters. I'm a big fan of a custom meeple. Yeah, obviously everyone likes the ones you get in root and things like that, but I'm just a big fan of ones that kind of where they're just representing something really tokeny, like a resource. So there was a game called Razzia, which was a kind of okay game. That was Sophia Wagner. It's very good. She's a very good designer. But she this game was all about mice breaking into your cupboards and eating all your goodies, basically eating all your cheese and other things. But they had these tiny like hot dog meeples to represent some of the food tokens. I thought they were really good. And the other one I mentioned is Caracare or Care, I guess. Which is there's some tigers, by the way. Which is Care or Caracare is that's about being like an island bird tribe person. And you lay tiles and you get things and it's cool. But one of the things you get is sweet potatoes, and there are sweet potato meatballs, and they're really good. You can probably see those on our Instagram, actually, if you scroll back a bit. So these are tigers awaiting stripes. That's the only thing my only complaint is these are tigers awaiting stripes. They're quite nice. Big fan of a well thought out meeple like this. Cool. So there are our main things we're not hunting down. Whoops. The main things we're well, that was a slip, wasn't it? They're the main things we're trying to save from extinction, not hunting. And we have some nice dice. These are themed with the colours of the player boards we saw earlier, which is always good. Nice to know what's what. I'm not going to lose that dice as well. And here we go, a stack of lobbyists. What do you call a stack of lobbyists? Okay, I see. So these are the different ways you can influence them. Okay, so I think you get this vote. So these are these are the countries the ambassadors, I think, that you're attempting to bring onto your side. And this is all guesswork, obviously, but these are all the ambassadors that you're hoping to bring onto your side. And at the end of the game, if you meet their criteria, I'm guessing, you will get you'll like get their vote, and if you get 4, you win, because you've convinced the right people to save the animals. So Japan needs a load of cards in hand, a certain amount of influence, active persistent impact. So there'll be another kind of card that we'll probably collect. For example, I can see one there that says oil spill on it, so that's a persistent impact. So these are either things that you've collected, I guess, either to convince people with, or there'll be things that you're possibly trying to avoid. So this is Canada here. Cards in play, destruction tiles. So these are these tiles. There's the tiles we saw earlier. They'll be laid out on the board in some way, covering up elements of it. And I guess that's what will influence the USA. Mexico wants the money, apparently. Or it requires money. That's interesting. Yep. Some basic dice ones. Check the board. Mating pairs. Yep. Okay. Cool. Animals in place, stuff like that. So yeah, these are the sort of requirements you need, I'd imagine, for getting each of those things. Impact tiger. So that's, which isn't a cologne. It's a deck of cards, and I guess there might be 2 decks in here. There is a board in here that we will have a look at in a minute. Ooh, what's that? I need to focus on one thing at a time. Otherwise, I'll get massively distracted. For those of us who've just joined, this is Endangered. A new game about saving the animals. And it is soloable, which I'm very happy about. So we're looking at Impact Tiger. Okay. Okay, and so this is going to be one of those games where you're learning about what affects each creature the most. So this is clear cutting. Removing vast swathes of trees at once is the most profitable logging type, but wipes out the whole ecosystem. So when a tiger sighting card enters play, roll one more deforestation, which will be, I imagine that'll be these icons here, which are these tiles that will be popping out later. Poachers. I don't need to explain that one. They shoot animals. As tiger habitats get smaller, they come into conflict with humans more often. Yep. So this is when this comes out, after this is out, that's when that effect happens. So this tiger sighting will exacerbate the situation further. Logging permit, things like that. Yeah. So they're the sort of things we're going to be facing off against when we get into that. Let's have a look. Here's another cologne for you. Impact Sea Otter. It's not as sexy as Impact Tiger, I don't think. Cool. So these things are oil spills. These are obviously things that... Oh, look at these sad otters. Look at those sad otters. They're covered in oil. Shark attack. Sharks cannot get a break, can they? They're always the bad guys. Did you know the name of... Actually, does anyone in chat know the name of the shark in Jaws? The shark does have a name. You do. What is the name of the shark? What is the name of the shark in Jaws? Hi Mel, how you doing? Mel, do you know the name of the shark in Jaws? I think you do now. The name of the shark in Jaws is Bruce. Not sure about surname. Does anyone know the surname of the shark in Jaws? Oiled Animal Rescue. Here you can see an otter getting a massage. Cool. Anyway, so there are the otter cards. There's just a few of those to have a look at. Okay, and then we've got all these kind of other events going on here. These all look like they're related to your current character. Yeah. So there you go. So sorry, lobbyist. And then these are the. I forgot what the purple one was. Is that the wildlife activist? That's a philanthropist. This is the wildlife activist because you can see they've got a little camera symbol. It's all quite nicely put together. It's one of those games that I would have loved when I was a lot younger. Bruce Jaws. Yeah, no, I think you're probably right. You're probably right, Mel. That it's the shark in Jaws is probably called Bruce Jaws. That's right. Okay, I've got some player aids in there as well. We won't go massively into that because you'll just have to watch me play it at some point, I'm afraid. Cool. Little handy player aids. These are the thing that keeps me sane most of the time. Okay, so shall I just run through this quickly with you, how this all works? So, action phase, reclaim the roll your dice one at a time, place on the actions and resolve. Offspring phase, mating pairs. That's kind of, I guess, a kind of point collection or set collection part, where you maybe, yes, you can add more animals to the pair. So that's one of the few ways I guess you can improve things for the animals. Destruction phase. Impact phase. We've spoken about the impact phase. I guess that's where the scenario things come out. And then we've got upkeep phase, which is probably a tidy up. And then year end is in a voting year. Check for each face up ambassador to see if they vote yes. If there are 4 or more yes votes, you win. Okay, so this is a ongoing thing where you could probably be working towards the goals of various different ambassador targets, which is a strange way to say it, and ambassador targets throughout. I don't know if any of them, if any of those sort of ambassador targets, as I keep calling them, I don't know if any of them really conflict, but there's certainly ones that would go better together, like number of animals and things like that. Would obviously go better together than other things. Extra dice. I don't know why there's 2 extra dice here. It might be for the solo game. Here's some tiny, tiny, tiny cards. These look like advantage cards, like power-ups. Yeah, so like once per turn, you may discard 1 card from your hand to collect $1 million. Sounds great. Yeah, so there's like the TV wildlife host can re-roll dice and stuff like that. Yes, there's like little power-up cards. It's cute. It's cute. Right, I want to know what this is. Anyone, what do you think this is? Votes, please. What on earth is this? I'm reckoning it's probably like a turn counter. But please show the shark again. Look, you've got an abusive username there, haven't you? But yes, you can see the shark again. It was in It was in Impact Sea Otter. Shark. Thank you for blessing me. Right. Is it a bus? I think it has bus-like qualities to it, doesn't it? It could be like a quintuple decker bus. Yeah, if these were all windows, for example, it could be like a really, really tall square bus. I think it's a calendar. I think it's actually a calendar, and it's a turn marker, and it's going to show the year end. Ooh, tiger. Here's our little scenario cards as well. Sea otter scenario. Should we have a look at the board? Good shark. Yes, it is a good shark. I think sharks don't get enough attention as having positive impacts on the world. Yes, I think this is just a turn counter. There we go. That's how that will work. That will slip in there like that. Sudoku on wheels. That's a good guess. This could be Sudoku on wheels. It'd be slightly slanted. I'm not sure exactly if it's got the right number of squares, but I think you're quite close. Okay, and these are the different decks, or spaces for decks or actions I think we'll be taking. Yes, and it's a rolled grid system. There we go. So quite a simple system. That'll be good for all ages, I'm going to go with. So that's one side. We'll have a look. This is the tiger-based side, which I know because I am a what do they call them again? Anthropologists? No, that's people, isn't it? I'm a marine biologist, and that's why I know tigers don't live in the sea. Okay, otter side. This is the otter side. Because I showed you the other side, and this is the otter side. Oh dear. So that's Endangered. Please don't leave. That joke wasn't that bad. Just going to quickly pack this all up. Thank you for laughing at my joke. No, thank you. It's a good box, isn't it? Nice looking box. Okay, next. We'll just do a quick one on this. This is Ticket to Ride Amsterdam. This is new-ish. New-ish? I think it was meant to come out a little bit earlier in the year, and then some sort of virus happened. So this is Ticket to Ride, but smaller, and in just one place. It's in a city. So there's no trains, because that's not what happened in Amsterdam at the time. I mean, when people dress like this, which is, I think, maybe, what's this, 1985 dress for Amsterdam? I've got an ooh from the crowd there for this this version of Ticket to Ride. Now, I was very disappointed to see there wasn't a leaflet in here for Visit Amsterdam or something like that, because the Brussels game, which came out late last year, I think, maybe early this year, which was a really great market-based card game, which also asked you to create like patterns with the cards you bought, which is cool. Apologies, I just knocked the microphone there. That came with a Visit Brussels thing, and I thought that was really funny. I just think, why don't they all have just like, come to this country? Why not? You know. But maybe that'll come later. So it's Ticket to Ride, but smaller. Do we know how to play Ticket to Ride? Yes, we do. Mostly, anyway. Ticket to Ride Europe. That's sitting up there somewhere. Up here. It's beyond the corner of the camera, actually. Right. So this has been played already. I do apologise, but nice box inserts for your tokens here. This big fan of this. They just squeeze in there. Beautiful. Lovely little board. I will say the only downside of this is when I played it the first time, I played it upside down, and as I've set it up now, apparently still. And so I was reading things like Harren Parkerstoren or Udwal or Karamita Schusel or Jan Rutens Portoren. None of those were said correctly. Doesn't matter. Reading Dutch places upside down, or or these Dutch names upside down is surprisingly difficult for a language that's quite simple to follow most of the rest of the time. But yes, very simple. Played a 2-player recently. That you do the normal thing of you take cards. Some of them tell you what you're trying to make, which are these again use those lovely little mini cards. It is a well-designed box. Thank you, Mel, for your agreement. Okay, so these are the cards which you can pick up from the market. They tell you what trains you can lay. You need to be able to complete a route. These are all very short routes, as you can tell, as in a route between 2 points, and to lay them. So you need to collect like 2 pinks to be able to do this bit, sort of thing. And then these are the kind of contracts you're trying to fulfill. So this is Jan Rudens por Storen, I'm so sorry, to Oost in Dutch Huis, I'm so sorry. I'll get you 4 points if you do that, because it's not a very long route, and you can probably do it. The games we played were 15, 20 minutes. Kind of ideal, really, for a game like this. I mean, we're at a point where these bigger gateway games, right? Gateway games that take a little while, where we don't want them to take a little while anymore. We want them to be our kind of palate cleansers between, what we might consider like heavy Euros or like some big dungeon crawl mini thing. So this is like, for me, this is the ideal kind of Ticket to Ride. So it's just really, really, really nice. Takes almost no time at all. Really simple. There's we didn't have any ties or anything like that, which is always a nice thing to avoid. Although I do take it as a sign of a well-balanced game. So who would like to see some tiny carts? I would. In fact, I'm going to open these ones because one of each in here. And these are for playing with, I think, more people. There we go. Or maybe it's for the easy mode. Can you see these? There we go. Tiny, tiny little carts. They're good. They're cute. I like them a lot. They're way more detailed than they need to be. They could certainly just be little blocks. It would be totally fine. But still, everyone's more than happy with that. And yes, nice that there's a colour which is just treated wood colour as well. Big fan of that. Let's have some natural tones in games. Why not? Okay, so that's Ticket to Ride Amsterdam. I think it's like 25 quid or something like that. It might even be less. So it's the smaller, cheaper, cuter, as you say, Mel, version of Amsterdam of Ticket to Ride. It's good. It's one of the ones to get. You could get this one. You could get the London one. They're all good. Depends what you like on the cover of your boxes, really. Okay, Village Green, which apparently is completely luminous looking at the stream here. So, can we see that there? That's maybe a little bit better. It's got very bright out there suddenly, which is strange for an overcast day, but still. So this is Village Green by Piers Sylvester. I've probably said that wrong, and I do apologise, Piers. Or Pier. Is it just Pier? I'm trying to read this font. So, so I am an idiot, but that's not the reason why I'm saying his name wrong at this point. Okay, this is Village Green. This is Village Green. I'm going to read you the back of this box in just a second. It's from Osprey. Osprey obviously do lots and lots and lots of lovely games, and they're generally like the kind of sensible end. So you think you need that in your life, Mel? Are you talking about the mini Ticket to Ride, or are you talking about Village Green? Because this might also be for you. This is a game of pretty gardens and petty grudges, which for me is kind of. I've got a thing about gardening games. I think gardening games are really good. I think they invite people like designers to go really wild with like the colours and design of their work. It's kind of one of the reasons people like Wingspan and stuff like that, because it's a like really nice looking and really well designed a subject that invites really nice art. And you might learn something, and you might recognise it from the real world, and there's no abstract pile of. So I, for ages, I played Anchor, which is a excellent two-player game. I recommend it to almost everyone. It uses a great market system and stuff like that. But in Anchor, it uses a very traditional Eurogaming thing of different representations of different stuff, and they're all sort of like nice watercolor drawings. They're all good. But I sort of didn't look at it properly. So for a while, for most of the time, in fact, most games I played in Anchor, I thought it was something that was like coal. It was like wood. It's like fish, and then I thought it was meat. I thought it was just a pile of meat, a pile of raw meat. And I thought that's what we were trading. I thought it was like a butcher's thing, right? I thought it was like a carcass of an animal. In reality, it was just red linen folded in a way that kind of gave it the impression of like having a strip of fat around it in some way, which when you look properly is fine. But for most of the games I played, played it with the abstract idea of trading meat. And so those games, because they're dealing in abstraction so much, as this one will as well, they're often trying to represent things that are kind of rubbish to represent. It's hard to represent linen. You know, how do you do that? It's very difficult. And so here, like many other gardening games, you have actual flowers, actual, instruments and implements of gardening and village life in this case. They're all lovingly represented. I'm not sure who the artist is. It doesn't actually say. It's 1 to 5, so it does solo as well, which is lovely. Love a solo game these days. I'm going to read you the back. It's the first day of spring, and there's only one thing on everyone's mind: the Village Green of the Year competition. Take on the role of rival gardeners and compete to bring the prestigious award back to your village. Arrange flowers, plant trees, maintain lawns, and create water features to impress the judges. Just remember, only one of you can claim the ultimate prize, so you'd better make sure those snobs from Lower Ansmore don't have the most impressive display. Will your village green become the local laughingstock, or make the neighbouring villages green with envy? I'm not sure that's the right tone to read that in, but that's what I'm going with. So this looks like, I think it's the same size box as the very good letterpress, which Osprey put out late last year, which was kind of like pick and pass Scrabble, which is great. Lovely little booklet here. This is a nice booklet made out of nice material. It does appear to be sort of a faked parchment on it, which is very a faked better material on it, but that's absolutely fine. And what does it look like here? Looks like we are creating a 4x4 grid, matching the awards we have laid out around it. So we probably get dished out some awards, and it's about us trading cards and things like that, swapping cards in and out, placing cards to meet the requirements of the surrounding cards. This is one I might solo this one on stream because it'd be quite nice just to look at, and very simple as well. Okay, so nice little rule book. 2 decks of cards, which in this case, a lot of times we kind of we don't moan about it, but sometimes we talk about games that put things in a big box and then they're just a couple of packs of cards, and it could have been much simpler. This is one of the cases where I think that's fine. I think that's that's 2 packs of cards. That's about the space needed for 2 packs of cards. I'm quite happy with that. They are nice cards. I'm not sure if you can see that backing there. Lovely. Good fountain. Some birds having a great time. Some sort of lady. Nice bridge. Got some willows there, maybe. Beech, is that right? Birch, I can't remember. Yep, similar things in different suits here. So these are the things you'll probably end up trying to match. Nice pond / lake. Just a general oak, possibly. Nice big willow there with someone playing a acoustic guitar very annoyingly. Let's imagine. What are they singing? I think it's Waterloo Sunset by the Kinks. Summer House Pagoda-y thing. Forgotten the real name for that is. More trees, more stuff. Famous person. Oh, we've got a heron on this one. Very nice. See, so they're all just lovely little watercolors. I think it's entirely charming. It's one of those games you're probably not going to be angry at the end of, even if you're meant to be sort of foaming at the mouth because the next village over stole your idea for a bandstand or something like that. This says start player on one of the cards. This has probably got some universally useful cards in here. Nice start player one there. There we go. Lovely. Okay. Okay, here's our different... so welcome to Lower Ansmore. Is that Ansmore? Is that how you'd say it? Oh, that's a nice backing card there as well. Look at that. See, I love this stuff. Like you don't get this in many other games. You don't like any other styles of games. Like gardening games are like the place to be for just like nicely illustrated things. It's we like working in like a print medium, and we should accept that it's analog and therefore should be nice looking. When things have an aspect of digital about them, even if this might all be digitally created ultimately, but it has like the sense of watercolor about it. Anyway, I just think that it's worth us putting the time in and recognizing when some games look really good for being honest about the medium they're in. So that's a start player card. Okay, so we've got Lower Ansmore there. We've got Middle Didsbrook. Welcome to Hither Saxcote. Welcome to Newton Poemmoor. Welcome to Market Foxby. Blimey. Sorry, Grumpy Turnip in the chat has just said, tremendous range on that fountain, needs a sabotage. I'm hoping, I think I'm going to be unsuccessful and let down by this game in that regard, but I don't think we're going to be able to sabotage each other's fountains. I think that would be a great, expansion for the game, sabotage mode, where you can break into each other's, like building sites, where the thing's being set up and you reroute the piping so that something else comes out of the the fountain rather than so here's all the awards. These will go around the edges and then you're trying to match things out as you go. So it looks good. It looks good. I'm quite excited by all of this in an unreasonable manner. Here we go. Here's some more beautiful things. Anyway, so that looks like a nice little game for probably especially for solo play, but playing with friends would probably be quite good on that one as well. It's a chance to role play as a local councillor, something we've all hoped, dreamt of being. This is finally our chance to do it. Mel says maybe they could introduce a dragon for sabotage in an expansion. Maybe they could. The village green dragon. Okay. This is High Rise. I said this earlier, but it's a hefty thing. Look at it. Look at that thing. It's absolutely huge. Okay. High Rise. The sky's the limit. As a building mogul, you are never short of funding for your next big skyscraper. Why is that? Actually, we won't interrogate capitalism on this one. If only the laws in the city were not as annoyingly restrictive. Luckily, you've got friends in all the right spots, so you should manage. High Rise is a city building game with a bit of corruption. You'll move along a one-way track to any spot you like and take its action. But take care, the further you jump, the more turns your opponents will get. You may use corruption to get stuff done faster, but might come back to bite you at the end of the game. Excellent. You'll buy materials and match them to blueprints to construct even taller buildings. The higher you manage to build, the more points your buildings will earn you. The game comes with the rules for a standard game that takes between 90 and 120 minutes, and for a full game that runs 150 to 180 minutes. This is a big showpiece game for your evening. Do you have what it takes to be a ruthless mogul? It's by Formal Ferret, which they use a picture of a ferret in a top hat with a bow tie on. It is a girthy box. You're quite right. You are quite right. There we are. So, it's by Gil Hover. I'm not sure what these symbols mean. So I think art by Quanchi Moriara, maybe Moria. Apologies. And Heiko Günther. So I think that's little paintbrushes stands for art, and that one I'm not sure what that one means. We'll have to have a look inside. Oh, look at all this nonsense! Brilliant. Right. Okay, so there's some little cards there. What have we got in here? Wow, that's a rainy day length game. That is absolutely true. And yes, you do have lots of those in Wales. So these are the tower standees. These are great. These look robust. They sound great. Okay. I won't get all those out because that'd be silly. Ooh. Okay, we're going to have to build some of these towers, guys. What's this? A nice cloth bag. Unbranded as well. Interesting. Some sort of markers. What have we got here? We have... Oh, these are probably player boards, I think. Yeah, these are the blueprints previously mentioned. Should we take a look at those? And they've given us extra baggies. always useful. No idea what this means. Probably for building stuff. Some nice blueprints here. These are the various things I guess you need per layer. I'm going to go with. Use ultra plastic or similar, it says on top. I don't know what that means. Ooh, okay. Right. We're going to just have to look at stuff, I'm afraid. So I'm really excited about this game. I love a building game. It's up there with the gardening games. We spoke to James Naylor a little while ago like in December. So 10 years ago, we spoke to James Naylor about Magnate, which is a really interesting game about boom and bust in the building trade, I suppose. The official rules of play. And that game's super interesting because of that boom and bust mechanic, and also you are just like upgrading things, and it's got a really nice sort of way of you're affecting different things on the board by their location with each other. So you can do things like nasty things like kind of upset other people by building something in an area nearby to them. So that's like their residential thing. You could stick for example, a industrial unit or something, which would obviously upset their renters, and therefore they'd get less money. Well, not necessarily less money, but maybe less influence and things like that. So that's cool. So I'm a big fan of these sort of things. Wow, look at these. Okay, so I keep seeing reference to the ultra plastics, which I have no idea what that means. The 1 and 2 player games. Oh, okay. Yeah, so yes, it's actually minimum 3 players, but they will use like a neutral mogul, it says here, for that. So that's an interesting thing. So you could play. So playing the solo is possible, I guess. That's interesting. Yes, this is a lot of rules. Hopefully, it comes off good. I'm still excited about it. Okay, let's have a look at what else we've got in here. This looks like a score tracker type thing. Very nicely designed. All of it's beautiful. We can't have any disagreement about that. This is corruption in the centre, and the outside is probably points, I would say. Are these different? They are not different. It's just written in a different way. I kind of like that. Okay, these are the units you're going to build with in the bag. So I guess we're going to be grabbing things from a bag until we have the right amount of stuff to pay for things. There was a mention of moving around the track quicker and things like that, which we'll get to. Oh, I've accidentally pushed that out. Loads of tokens here. Look at these things. Architecture firm. Take a penthouse card if available. So these look like little bonuses. These will be in a little market. Maybe not. We'll have a look. Yep, lovely set of tokens. Usual punch boards. They look really nice. They've got that. I don't know what to call it, but I always think of it as the sort of the Stonemayer treatment. Which, again, sorry to mention. The publishers of Wingspan yet again, but it's also in most of their boxes. They've just got this really nice finish to them. The side box over here has like a nice soft mesh. It's like almost soft touch, but not quite. I've got no idea what the proper name for it is. I found what we're looking for though. Here we are. Here are some skyscrapers. So let's build one. Let's build one right now. So I'm going to recklessly pop out this 15 here. And I'm going to shove it in there, assuming that is what we do. There we go. There's a skyscraper for you. Let's see if we can turn this one on. There we go. That's a terrible angle for me, but still. Let's focus on that, shall we? Try and focus on that, please. I don't know. There we go. Maybe we'll do it that way. I'm just trying to get this to focus on that, so you just see how large these things are. Okay, that's enough of that. That's enough of my terrible chin situation, actually. So we've got some smaller ones here. Brad and Bryn Enterprises. Look at that. So I think this is great. You're going to have like this little forest of skyscrapers popping up on the board, and I found the board. Let's put these guys away. Ooh. Oh, this is a long old board. It appears to be. I'm not going to be able to lay this down anyway. This is a long old board. I have to move some things out of the way to attempt this. Okay. I guess look, this might be the best you get. We'll have to shuffle it around a bit. Yes, I imagine this is what's going to happen. There we go. Wow, these giant skyscrapers down here. That's great. Let's see if we can get a bit of dramatic lighting on this. I don't know if this is going to work. There we go. Is that dramatic? Not really, no, but still. And this bit's blue, so that's obviously gone a bit strange there. But anyway, so yeah, I guess we're going to be building some wonderful skyscrapers like this. It's kind of, I'm going to say, I think Manhattan is kind of this shape, right? You know, this kind of shape. So it's a very long island. There's city centre here. There's lots of different avenues named here. It appears to be. It's not double thickness board, so it's not got that. It's not got those inset areas for you to sort of pop things into. But it's very slightly I'm going to say embossed. But that's not really right. It's not actually embossed. It's like, I guess it's debossed or something, which is a really stupid way of saying it's been kind of punched down slightly so you can possibly slip things in nicely. Really high quality, lovely board. And as you'd expect for a game that you're going to spend this much time with, there appears to be little areas here, maybe for your cards as you're building them in. This might actually be your player areas. Is this right? Do you think these are your play mats? That might be right. So you might be playing right up against the board, which is quite nice. It is a stupidly long board though, for as wide as it is. That's me folding it back in there. Oh, there's another side. Is there another side? Let's have a look. I think this is. I have no idea what the difference is here. This is 1 to 3 players, and this is the 4-player board. Okay, so this is the maximum size board with all the nice indents. The other side, you don't quite. Oh, you do get the indents. So they've kind of like punched these in, which I really like. Yeah, so this looks great. I'm really quite looking forward to this. I'm going to have a go. Size does matter. That's quite right. So I'm going to have to go at this one solo. Yes, but the size that matters here is the size of your kitchen table. Have you got enough space? Have you got a long enough table to lay this one out? That's the question. Okay, so that's high rise. As I say, these are not reviews. These are just basically a little look at the components and things like that. So I'm quite excited about that now. High rise, particularly exciting. I think it's going to be a time investment, however. Just pop these in here. There we go, lovely. I'm interested in these parts as well, because I think these are going to go on top of our current buildings. So if you do need a little bit of extra height, you can do that. and get a +2, if that would help. Cool. So that's High Rise. I'm Chris. I think that's me done for the day. Yes, you might have to extend the dining room table for High Rise. That's right. On the plus side, it's not very girthy. So it's not going to, there'll probably be room to have stuff around it, whereas a lot of games have a huge board with nowhere to put your cards. There we go. So that was High Rise. That was also Village Green. That was also Ticket to Ride Amsterdam. That was also Endangered. And finally, it was also Europe Divided. Okay, and that is it. There we go. That is it from me. Thank you for watching today. No, thank you, Mel, for coming along to watch all these games. Yeah, thank you for everyone who came along to have a look. Hopefully it wasn't too shambolic, and hopefully you got something useful out of it. Hopefully my excitement and distraction as I see new things in boxes is not too much of a nuisance for you. If you like this, you should probably hop over to tabletopgaming.co.uk and get a subscription to one of these things. Magazines. They're good. They're made out of paper. They have words in, and they tell you all about board games. I've been distracted by a comment in chat which says, my favourite has been the chocolate otters, which is a reference to Endangered, something we looked at today. So thank you all, and hopefully we'll pop us up on YouTube, and if indeed it goes there, we'll be looking at the comments to see if there's any good feedback or indeed negative feedback, which we'll delete immediately. Cold coffee, excellent. Right, thank you very much. Nice to see you all. Follow us on all the usual things. Subscribe to the podcast as well, because that's really good. We've got a new one going up later this week with Nick Smith of the Ludicrous. He does a he runs like one of the nicest gaming cafes in London. Well, in Croydon, sorry. And he does the gaming library at Tabletop Gaming Live. So it's just a really nice conversation about kind of where gaming is right now and what it's like reopening under COVID. So watch out for that. You can get that on all streaming services and podcast services and all that sort of thing. If you can't find it somewhere, let me know. I'll put it where you can find it. Anyway, thank you very much. I'm Chris Eckert of Tabletop Gaming Magazine. If you could follow us, if you're not already, that'd be great. Then you'll know the next time we go live, and you won't have to rely on finding us on Twitter and all that sort of stuff. And thank you very much, and we'll speak soon. Bye.